Holy moly.
Ew.
This might be a first. This might be a first where it didn't take us 40 minutes to get everyone on the same line.
Sorry I missed your call. I was just head back in the office chair and listen to a bit of music and nearly dozed off.
Nice.
Is that code for doing a shit?
Nah, done that already.
Minisode.
Watch out! Here it comes. Watch out! Here it comes. Watch out! Here it comes.
Speaking of which, did you hear Fergie's National Anthem?
I hope she's all right from having her stroke.
It wasn't that bad.
Did you listen to it?
Oh,
Yeah, so she just tried to jazz it up a bit. She took a risk. Come on now.
Mate, we're talking about practice.
oh, God. But seriously, somebody in her entourage would have watched that practice and gone, yeah, it's pretty good.
You ever taken a risk, Wayne? You ever bought a bad toupee and thought about wearing it outside?
Mate, I've never taken a risk like that in front of so many people with national television on me during one of the biggest sporting events of the year. No, I've never taken a risk like that, actually. And to think she came out and said, look, I can appreciate people taking artistic risks and things like that. I mean, it's a bit of a no-brainer, but, you know, she said she tried to sort of do her own thing. Like, did she not practice it and go, you know what, I'm not hitting the right tones?
I don't even think she's fucking heard the song before.
I think she's tone deaf.
At the first few lines, I thought, hello, Carol Channing's back. But then she went away from Carol Channing a bit. But, yeah, it wasn't... Look, I'd totally go there still, but...
The faces on the players, holy shit. Them trying not to laugh was hysterical.
I was just like... I was in the other room, for starters. I heard the television going. I was like, oh, shit, there's something wrong with my telly. That was legit went through my head. I went, oh, better fix it. All-Star Game's about to start. And then I was just like, you know when, like, time and space just slows up and you're, like, stuck in a moment and I'm just going, what is going on? This can't be happening.
Yeah, in my lifetime, it was Princess Diana's death, September 11, and then Fergie singing the National Anthem. They were the times that my life stood still, and I just stared at the screen going, this can't be happening. This can't be happening.
This is a clear case of when you come and sing a national anthem or get a gig to do that, less is more.
Totally. Yes. And she's got a decent voice. Like, she could have definitely just played it safe and banged it out, but no,
Love to bang one out.
She just had a stroke mid-performance.
God, it was bad.
Surprised she stayed on her feet, really. But anyway.
And then at the end, it's like, let's play some basketball. And then everyone's like, you just...
Yeah.
Our ears are bleeding.
I was like, what? Sorry? Huh? Did someone turn the sound off? Why is there blood from my eardrum?
On my coverage on NBA on the app, it sort of cut straight to Kevin Hart's introductions, but apparently there was some huge skit that he did beforehand, which went for 20 minutes too long, and I didn't see it. Apparently, it was one of the worst pre-game shows in television history. So they did well.
All right,
they backed that up with Fergie.
Did you see any of that, Vince?
No.
Okay, so Kevin Hart treated it like his own little Grammys introduction, which is fine. Look, I'm not the biggest Kevin Hart fan. I think he's pretty one-dimensional and just plays the same character himself over and over and over and over.
He's a lot better than Rappaport.
Rappaport's not even a comedian, so I don't know how that really...
But he's not a comedian, is he? Oh, okay, yeah.
You're just salty. Stop being so salty. Anyway, the Kevin Hart thing was really... It was awkward. It was awkward because as he's doing the intros, he's like paying out the players, and I'm like, they're right there, and...
Well, yeah, like I saw him paying out the players, and I saw him doing it, but before that, he did this skit with Queen Latifah and Ludacris, and I didn't see that, but apparently, like, everybody was tweeting, like, oh my God, make this end, and this is like the worst television that we've ever seen, and this is painful to watch. Like, he was getting smashed.
Oh, he looked like a award winner after Fergie's performance, let me tell you.
Oh, okay. I'll try and find it online and watch it.
Oh, don't do that. Don't do that.
Okay. All right, I'll forget it ever happened.
Hey, just before we get into some hoops talk, Stu, I did something today that I saw you did a couple of days ago. I went and saw Black Panther today.
You did?
Did you enjoy it?
Okay.
Oh boy, this is another.
I'll just be over here drinking coffee.
This is
At the risk of sounding wildly unpopular, it wasn't what I thought it would be.
Okay.
I like visually, it was striking. Colors, graphics, everything. Like it was a very well made movie. I think the only real action scenes of the that I'd seen in the trailer, which is a little bit disappointing. It was really dialogue heavy. I think there's a shit ton of hype, like overhype, because of the black aspect and all the black characters, which are awesome. And I don't know, man. It's not my favourite. Like, it's a solid 7, 8 out of 10. It's no higher than that for me.
Yeah, I'm not the biggest Black Panther fan, like as far as the character goes. So I didn't have any expectations going into it. So I kind of enjoyed it. I was like, oh, okay, cool. But yeah, I do agree with you a little bit. I'm going to get killed at work. But yeah, I thought it was pretty good, pretty solid.
Yeah, like, it was a great movie. Like, I thoroughly enjoyed it. It packed heaps in. I mean, it was almost. I know we've seen where he's come from, but it was almost an origins film, right? Pretty
much. I mean, actually, I walked out of it just going, I can't wait for Infinity War.
Yeah, but yeah, man. Like, honestly, I liked it. It was a really good movie. I liked Kilgore. I thought Michael B. Jordan did an awesome job with that villain. I thought he was probably one of my favourite villains in the MCU. Like, I really enjoyed it. But
I didn't realise, I mean, obviously the Creed role paid off for him, but I didn't realise the dude was so big.
Man, he's
jacked.
Up.
He's jacked.
Yeah, they were interviewing him at All-Star Weekend. Quite a few of the interviews with him, because he was courtside, revolved around him bulking up. And he said, yeah, like, he full-on went next level after Creed. And now he's had to slim down for Creed 2 because he was too big.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I know. I wish I could just do that. I'm too ripped. I'm going to get less ripped.
Yeah, I'm bulking up, but in a different way myself. more the outer.
Yeah. All right, let's welcome Vince Germano back into the fold. Come on, Vince.
Vince, where are you?
If you don't edit that shit out, I'm quitting podcasting.
Yeah.
You fucking play video games at midnight. Shut up.
Shut up and video game, Vince. Shut up and video game.
Oh, I wish I was video gaming right now.
Hey, well, look, we've got to talk about All-Star Weekend because there were no games today. There's no games tomorrow. And, look, there was some cool things to talk about, I feel like. But it's good that you're on the show, Vince, because if anyone follows you on Facebook, they know that you couldn't give a rat's ass about All-Star Weekend.
Could not give a stuff.
Now, I was with you last year and that All-Star Weekend, and I didn't watch a single event last year. And I got to admit, I did, as much as they have sucked balls in recent times, I did kind of miss the events and everything. So I was like, this year, with the new format change, I'm gonna give it a chance. I think it's good that you're on the show recording with us tonight because, well, you're one part of the trio for starters, but it's good to have your point of view because, I mean, you speak for the fan that has just been fed up with what the All-Star game has become.
Oh, massively. I have not enjoyed an All-Star game since I can remember when. We've covered it a million times, but to me, there's just no competitiveness. Everyone's too nice. No one wants to go at anyone. There's no, I want to kick his ass, I want to kick your ass. It's just boring. I hate the skills challenge. The dunk comp's not what it used to be. I just find it real boring. It's a snooze fest. Maybe I'm too old, too grumpy, too old school, all the above.
No, I think it's fair. You know, I think it's a fair criticism because what we've been fed over the past, or at least I want to say the last 6 to 7 All-Star weekends, has been pretty much that.
I can't even remember the last one I enjoyed. Probably Jordan's last one because endures his last one, and we just love Michael Jordan. But apart from that, I can't really remember. I mean, yeah, they just really bore me and disappoint me because I love the game so much. But I would not shed one single tear if they scrapped the All-Star weekend.
Yeah, look, I totally get where you're coming from because 2009, I was at Phoenix for that All-Star weekend, and I can remember that game quite well. I think that was the start of it for me because at the end of that game, the last 5 minutes, they were just letting LeBron or whoever run through and throw down dunks. And I was like you really lost interest by a second half in that game. You know, I think after last year's schmozzle, the fans really kicked up a stink that both players and Adam Silver had to take note. And the new format change, the new system, I still think there's a long way to go, but I think it was definitely a move in the right direction.
Yeah, I agree. I think, everything's been covered off. It was becoming farcical. The fact that we had Steph Curry lying on the ground while Giannis was dunking last season was a joke. You know, I used to like the All-Star games of, I guess, the mid to late 90s when your Kobe and your KGs were debuting and your old guard was still there, like your Pippen, Jordan, and Grant Hill and Penny and Shaq. And that was a lot of fun. It truly was the stars of stars, and there was a level of competitiveness to it. For me, my last favourite one was 2001 when Iverson and Marbury made the comeback for the East.
Yeah.
That's probably one of my personal favourites, and that quarter of basketball is a hell of a lot of fun to watch. But they've come a long way. Adam Silver obviously wants to make this thing competitive, and I think the players kind of, a little bit of pride in their pre- and post-game interviews about wanting to win. I like the idea that next year the draft will be live before the game.
Yeah, I think they've got to do that right before the game, though.
Yeah, literally. So they're going to pick them at half court. So the two captains will come out. The players will be wearing reversible jerseys, allegedly, and they will be picked like schoolyard basketball.
That's cool. I kind of like that.
Yeah. So, but look, I mean, the score was low compared to, they were joking. Skip Bayless and a couple of other people tweeted, that this will be a success if each team scores below 200. And it was competitive in the last 5 minutes. I mean, a 12-point comeback from Team LeBron. It was actually surprisingly good to watch.
It was good because we saw a lot more defense than we did last year. I still think that score is probably a little bit too high, but I was watching the game, especially the first quarter, because even previous All-Star weekends, when you used to watch it, and the first half used to be a bit of a roll your eyes until the second half and it got a bit more serious. At least they were playing a little bit more defense in that first quarter. And I was like, hang about, this is actually if this keeps building and keeps momentum and then we head into those final quarters, this could be quite entertaining. But I feel like all it's going to take is a chip on the shoulder. Do you know what I mean? For this to build and to carry over. I mean, I don't know if you saw it, like Drummond and Karl Anthony Towns clearly, I don't want to say they don't like each other, but they both feel like they have something to prove. And the same when Embiid was on there as well. There was that whole... I mean, Embiid was pretty tame, I thought, the whole weekend, but I feel like the chippiness is going to come with the weekend if they keep building on this, and eventually we're going to get some really good quality weekends.
Yeah, I can see it getting to the fact, that the pride is going to matter. I think that it is going to get a little bit scrappy. It's not going to be NBA Finals basketball. It's not going to be, people busting their asses. That's just not going to happen. These guys are going into the tail end of the season, when you're playing for playoff spots and you're playing for championships. So we can't get ahead of ourselves and think that this is going to actually matter on anyone's calendar. But I do think coming away with the dub is going to be a big pride thing. And, you can tell there was... even really early, a couple of the drives that Embiid did that Kevin Durant was like hacking him and making sure that dunk wasn't happening. Whereas in other All-Star games, that dunk happens, for the fans.
They move out of the way,
I'll usher you through, I'll play the Matador and away you go, and we'll do it for the fans. But you could just see in one game alone that hopefully the mindset can change because... look, people pay a lot of money to see the stars of stars, and they fly in from all over the world to watch this event, and they tune in all around the world. So it should be a friggin' game that not matters. I don't want to get ahead of myself, and that no one's going to put an All-Star game result over a playoff seeding or a finals berth, but it should matter. So hopefully it gets there.
Well, I hope no one flew halfway across the world to watch Jimmy Butler play.
Far out, man. What the hell?
Is that the first All-Star DNP ever?
It may very well be.
Without injury, I mean...
Allow me to interrupt just for a second.
Please.
I believe that was DMP hungover.
Yeah.
That's what I'm hearing anyway.
I mean, you might as well give one to LaMarcus Aldridge with his 4 minutes and 1 block.
I think a few of them were specifically rested on purpose or had requests from their coaching staff to be rested. But Jimmy's not into that sort of shit whatsoever. I think it was pretty well documented leading into the All-Star game that he was going to be giving them maybe 5 minutes. So that reduced to nothing. But I'm with Lou Williams, man. You serious?
Yeah, it kind of sucks. Look, it's not our regular show. This is a Minisode. So if it was, I have to give my jersey worthy to Anthony Davis.
Because he gave his jersey a rest for the first quarter.
Yeah, wearing Cousins' jersey. I was like, nice.
Who was your jersey worthy, Vinny?
You see, I washed my hair. Probably might hurt 2 in 1.
Beautiful. I read today that the reports for the All-Star weekend was the ratings were actually down slightly. So that was kind of interesting. So,
was there a big slump in Melbourne?
Yeah. So
Not in shampoo sales.
No.
Vince, did you catch any of it? Did you catch any of the highlights?
As Chris Tucker said in Friday, not a damn thing.
Damn. Well, look, I think all in all, like, pretty successful as far as the All-Star game itself goes. I mean, I couldn't have sat through what happened last year. I just feel like when players do stuff like that and, you know, the game gets to that point, it's such a disrespect to all the All-Stars before. I mean, you know, you're just padding numbers then, and then I have a real problem with players earning their awards. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes I feel like it's like just a participation award in the league these days. So I just feel like, especially last year, you know, Anthony Davis obviously broke a lot of records, and the game itself was so huge in the scoring factor. I just feel, you know, any records you're broken during this game should just be wiped, because
there is no way Davis's record should count.
Right?
No fucking way.
Totally. So, look, I was all for changing the rules, because I just would have hated to seen another record that was made the right way go down like that.
Well, I tell you what, I had, you know, if I was a betting man, which I'm not, I would have put money on the world team pumping the USA team for the rookies, and did they what? They smashed them.
That was great.
Absolutely smashed them. Sabonis had a big game. My man Larry had a big game. It was awesome to watch, man. It wasn't even close. Saric was putting in buckets. Obviously, the MVP Bogdanovic had a great game. Man, honestly, the USA team, it's a bit of a precursor just for the way that the world's catching up. I mean, I know we say it every Olympic year that, you know, there's the Spains and, you know, these other teams are going to catch up. But man, I'll tell you what, the international scene is just killing it at the moment.
Oh man, another 5 years of this, and USA aren't going to be like that lock to win it anymore. Like I mean,
they're going to be able to field some crazy talented teams, but it just shows you the young stock that's coming through. I mean, it wasn't even close. Like, it just felt like at any given time the world probably could have just put their foot on it a little bit more. Like, it was cruise control for them.
I was watching the game and I just thought, oh man, every time in my head I'd go to give Mitchell the Rookie of the Year award, I watch Ben Simmons play, and he's just so smooth, does it so easily, and like he came out and obviously had a bit of a chip on his shoulder from not being selected to the All-Star team, and man, he just looks so good on the court. I just like, man, give this kid another season, another 2 years, and I mean, he's just going to be devastating. Man,
he's bigger LeBron.
It's crazy.
That's all I think of when I watch him is we're just watching a little bit more at the same age, a little bit more developed, a little bit more advanced LeBron. Like, this kid could seriously be an all-time great. He is, man, he was good. He was a star among stars.
Yeah. Did you catch any of it, Vince?
You're going to say that at the end of every segment.
Yep.
Not a damn thing.
Well, look, let me bring you back into the fold because during All-Star Weekend, obviously, I suppose one of the biggest topics, one of the biggest distractions from the actual weekend was the LeBron James criticism through the week. So you guys obviously saw the...
I did see that.
So
the Fox News criticism.
Yeah. So look, on the show, I've been pretty reluctant to bring in the political aspect. You know, I don't agree all the time with some opinions of the fans, and you know, some fans get all uppity about it. And look, we all have different views, so I've chose to leave it alone. But it just got me thinking. You know, with not so much what happened, even though it's a big part of obviously the whole shut up and dribble. I just thought it was nonsense. And actually, the first thing I thought was, isn't she supposed to be reporting the news and not giving her opinion?
It's not just that, Wayne. She said, why do they speak like that, or do they have to speak like that?
Man.
Like, in the way she said it, you knew what she meant.
Yeah.
Yep.
It made me fucking angry, really.
Just the undertones to it, right? They were just so naive.
Yeah.
Because haven't athletes, like, across all boards, like, you know, been using their platform, you know, for this very reason for years? I mean, anyone who watched any of the All-Star Legends ceremony, you know, would have heard the players, just them even talk about Bill Russell and all he's done, you know, just for our sport and for a black man in America. I mean, it's pretty amazing. I mean, I don't know. And then it's kind of like, well, what has she done? What has she done to give weight to any sort of argument against these players?
She probably dropped to her knees every now and then to get where she is. Who knows?
Oh, Jesus.
The best thing she's probably done for her whole career. She's just a mole. How she is not fired, sacked, whatever.
Yeah.
I don't care who agrees with me or disagrees with me. That just to say all that shit on TV, to me, no. I haven't even heard if she's been suspended or sacked.
She hasn't. She, I read today that she coming out and said, she meant it as a joke.
Oh, bullshit.
Oh, shit.
Right.
This whole dialogue around their athletes just shut up and play sport is so ridiculous that it's offensive that we have to even retaliate against it and speak up for them on their behalf. Not that they need it, but the fact that somebody has a platform, an international platform that can say, shut up, black athlete, and just play sport, which is what she said, is just incredible. Not only in this day and age, but just that anybody would think that a sporting personality such as LeBron James doesn't have an influential voice, and why should he be silenced? Who on earth are we or anybody to not, you know, to try and censor, you know, what he thinks or what he feels or how he could influence? I think good on him. I hope it accelerates what he's able to say on the platform and the podiums that he's given, and I hope he doesn't stop. It's just offensive all around.
It just really made me think, though, you know, thinking of guys like Bill Russell and obviously LeBron James, and there's been players, you know, in the league do this before. This is not anything new in our league, but it actually just made me think, you know, as far as like, you know, what LeBron does with his platform, and not so much to do with comparisons or anything like that, but it actually made me think, you know, one of my favourite players ever, how almost little he did with his platform. You know, like, you never heard Jordan talk out about any sort of real issues like this. I think he really played it safe and protected his brand.
When he played, he didn't have all this social media bullshit.
That's true.
Where every jerk-off's got a freaking opinion, every jerk-off is freaking filming everything. And so it was a little bit different back then for MJ.
I mean, I would argue in his defence, though, that we had never really seen a basketball profile, you know, really on that level, you know, on that really worldwide level. So, you know, maybe it was just a thing of like, well, you know, what he says, especially in his prime, could really shake the world. But in saying that too, you know, like, yeah, I don't know, it just really made me ponder. I was like, that's like, you never really heard MJ speak about on anything really.
Benson's asleep.
I mean, he was a little bit criticised when there was, I guess, a heightened occurrence of black youth being, pulled over by police and shot and hunted and I mean, basically every second day it was almost like there was some kind of an incited riot of white people versus black people, and he was almost called out by quite a few. A lot of it was happening in Charlotte, and he was called out by the media essentially for not speaking. And when he did finally speak, I think he did admit that it was a long time coming, and he does prefer to stay out of that sort of social commentary. He's obviously a massive philanthropist and donates to a lot of causes and a lot of boys and girls clubs around the country. So I mean, look, I think he's more of a mover and a shaker in the shadows, whereby his financial resources are able to influence community and things like that. But I don't think he's ever been vocal. He did, I know he specifically came out. It was about a year and a half ago, and did address the media on that exact topic, but. He is, I don't know if it was brand protection, but I think he was just somebody who just didn't feel like it was his place, be it as an athlete, a businessman, or a father, I don't know, but to comment on these sorts of things. But, I mean, look, I think behind the scenes he's probably done more than you, I, or anybody really could gauge with the wealth that he's got at his disposal.
Oh, no doubt.
And in his defence, he did have that, he did do the anti-drug thing that is now a wicked gif.
Stop it. Get some help.
It's my favourite GIF.
I love
GIF,
it. So
whatever they're called.
Have you seen that actual ad?
I don't think so.
Go onto the YouTubes and check it out. It's awesome. He's so young. It's like literally he's just come out of rookie training camp. They chucked a coat on him, put him in front of a screen, and he just doesn't know what he's doing. It's so good.
Just interesting that how the athletes use their platform, but yeah, I don't know. It's just strange.
I think Vince's point's pretty valid, though. I mean, the life and times in which we live in have a lot to do with the platforms that we're afforded to add to social commentary. And it's a small world at the moment. I mean, something happens over in Beirut, and we know about it on Twitter like a millisecond later, and we can comment on it, and we can get video feeds on it, and we know what's going on. And we all grew up when we had to wait for, Slam magazine to arrive a month late to know what happened over in the States and things like that. So it's changed. And I think, if Michael Jordan had that sort of a platform, and if he had 140 characters to tweet out, who knows what sort of role he would have played. I personally would have liked to have followed, Magic and Larry on Twitter back in the day, but it's just a sign of the times.
Yeah. I'll tell you now, if social media, if he was playing now, or if social media was rampant back then, there's no way he would have played as long as he did.
Oh, you don't reckon?
No. He did not like the circus as bad as it was back then without the social media.
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons why he loved it when Dennis Rodman came, because it took some of the focus away from him off the court.
Mm. That's because he was trying to hide his gambling. But anyway,
he was still in David Stern's bad books.
You heard the conspiracies in his retirement?
Yeah, I heard them. Shit.
Well, there was some other stuff that went down during All-Star Weekend. Vince, just to catch you up.
Do tell.
Adam Silver floating the idea of a 16-team playoff format regardless of division. So just you won through to 16. Again, I'm torn a bit, Stu, because I'm kind of like, this changes the record books, though. But maybe it does need a reset.
Oh, my God. Do it. Do it now. There's still time.
If they implement it next year, that'll be really interesting.
Fucking do it this year so we can see 7 games of Houston versus Golden State.
That'd be great.
Yeah, I'm all for that. If he wants to do that, I'll be happy with that.
You'd be on board?
Yeah, change it up a bit.
I think we've got to stick to the 7-game series, though.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that. I just think the best 2 teams should meet. How many times have we seen, near sweeps or, I think the best 2 teams should be representative of the finals. And, if the East or the West is dragging the chain and they can't get a team there, then they can't get a team there.
Mm.
That's fair.
Well, do you think, if you do that, do you think that stops players doing the division jumping?
I don't know.
Like, do you think,
Well, I've always just thought that was stupid anyway. I mean, so what? I mean, you want to win the chip, you still got to beat the West Coast team.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, I just think, like anything, the cream rises to the top, and so be it. If it's two West teams, if it's two East teams, if the Final Four are East, so be it. I just think that's just talent being rewarded for being competitively the best.
Vince, I know you were a bit upset about this topic that came out, I think, 2 days ago. The whole JJ Redick had to issue his apology. Yeah. Do you want to explain to the listeners what happened? Did you watch the clip?
Oh, well, you did this without notice, you bastard. Hang on. No, I didn't watch the clip, but I read his statement on his Twitter page.
Yeah. I watched it. It was just mumble. Like, it was literally, the guy was tongue-tied. You could tell. He got halfway through saying something, realised that it probably wasn't going to make sense by the time he'd finished saying it, and he kind of corrected himself mid-sentence. And, man, it sounded like he said what he'd said, but if you watch the whole video, he clearly got halfway through saying something and stopped. And he wasn't going to say what they're saying he's saying, but I just don't want to say it. But
like you said, it wasn't even his vocab, right?
No, totally. If you watch it in context, there is no effing way he was going to say what they're saying he was going to say. It was purely, I'm going nowhere with this sentence, I'm going to change it up. There we go, I said the right thing. And that's it.
I just can't believe how, an NBA player farts and he has to apologise. Like, everyone's too freaking sensitive these days.
Yeah.
But that being said, I do think that the dude who wrote Linsanity has a chink in his armour was being racist. Because...
Do you? No.
He got fired, and apparently about a month later he admitted to somebody that he just thought he was being cheeky, but he knew what he was doing.
Oh, did he? Well, fuck that guy then. But we don't know JJ Redick personally.
No, I watched that video of him when he was choosing which team he was going to go to.
That was
feel
great.
like I know him really well.
I don't know. Look, I'm just sick of people being so sensitive, and I'm just over it. I'm that angry about it. I can't even speak properly. I can barely speak properly the best of times, but can everyone just calm down? Like, everyone across the globe, the millions who listen to this podcast, just calm the fuck down.
They all need a hug.
Not everything...
They all need a hug.
Just, everyone needs their bollocks rubbed or something. I don't know. Just calm down. Like, he had nothing to apologise for. Like,
everyone needs a little bit of back
Wayne Hunt called me a wop once.
What?
Did I get upset? No.
Oh, man. You could take me to court. Do you know how much audio I have if you call me shit?
Wayne called me up one day and he said, I was driving to work and I noticed I had a flat tyre. And do you know what noise it made? Wop, wop, wop. That's what he said to me.
I've never called you in my life.
Did you need to issue an apology? No. Can we just... I got a bit of support on Twitter. I said, really? He's got to apologise for this. Got a little bit of support. I was happy with that. Wayne did call me a wop. So, yeah.
Wayne does that. Not a day goes by.
I think we got the title for the show.
Dear.
No, I'm not.
Hey, I've got an apology to give out.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
First of all, we've got to give Joey better shout-outs because he is putting us over big time on his show every week.
Oh.
Like, big time.
Oh, right.
And if you haven't listened, I'm telling you, he's in rare podcasting form.
Joey!
He's a little grumpy, but he's in rare podcasting form. So check out Timberwolves Explosion. But my apology has to go to Dwayne Casey.
Oh, hang about.
Now,
the man in the suit.
You've called Casey out quite a few times on the show.
Well, if you shut up, you dick, I'll tell you while I'm apologising. First of all, his wife, I'll tell you what, he's batting well above his average.
Fizdale above his average?
Yeah. Yeah, Dwayne Casey's 60. I think his wife's about 30.
Oh, Google.
Good on him.
Google.
Anyway, Dwayne Casey, I listened to his podcast with Woj. Dwayne Casey won me over. I just want to apologise for bagging his coaching all these years. He's proved me wrong. But he just comes across as an absolute ripping bloke, and I highly recommend listening to his interview with Woj. It was fantastic. It was insightful. Stuff he went through as a young man. I'm just a huge Dwayne Casey fan after listening to that, and I think most of us will be too if you listen to it. So apologies to Dwayne Casey. I take back everything I said. You actually can coach a little bit.
He was the defensive coach for Dallas and their championship run?
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
Look at you choking on your humble pie.
No, look, fantastic interview. He's done it. He's come up the hard way, and he's won me over.
Wow. Jesus Christ! Have you told your wife that you've renamed your dick Dwayne Casey? Oh my God!
No, you can't.
This is a love job right here.
I can't rename the anaconda, mate. The serpent. It's the serpent's got its own special name.
Oh boy! Oh boy! Hitting new lows on this show. I apologise to everyone listening.
Well, Benson mentioned it, so you know.
Did he though? Did he? Or did you just volunteer it?
Listen, if Benson wants his own surgery, he's got enough money to pay for it. His own, to get that anaconda.
Yeah, I don't know how much shortening I'd need, but okay.
Oh dear.
So, Thiago Splitter announced his retirement today.
What? Did he? Oh no.
You didn't see it?
No.
Yeah,
Benson is actually shattered.
Man.
He's shattered.
No,
Devastating. Championship-winning Thiago Splitter. Wow.
He announced his retirement for the NBA after battling chronic hip injuries the past 2 years. 33 years old, though. He's pretty young, so...
Jeez, I'm still playing at 35.
Mate, let me just read it.
We don't care. You don't have to read it. We don't care he retired. He was average.
Mate, still.
Role player. No,
I was stumbling on some where are they nows and having a look around and wondering, what a couple of ex-players got up to. And I stumbled across a documentary. I think it was filmed in the middle of last year, and it was like for a version of 60 Minutes somewhere. And it was what Darko Milicic is up to. Oh,
right. Jeez, we were talking about him not long ago.
Absolutely fascinating. He is, he's probably pushing Shaq size at the moment.
What?
Yeah, he's huge. He's obviously like 7 foot, so but he is bulked up. He was doing MMA for a little while, but he's now some sort of
farmer.
He's got some huge plantation in the Ukraine somewhere that is like. It's like a multi-million-dollar industry, and he owns it all. So he's still making bulk coin after his retirement. He lives in like a small village. He does like drinking competitions and arm wrestling competitions against people, and it's just he's like just a normal giant farmer. It's insane.
You know what? As long as he's fucking happy.
Oh yeah, man! Like he is just like you know what? He kind of jokes about him being a bust and things like that in the interview, but. He didn't draft himself ahead of Carmelo Anthony, Dwayne Wade, and Chris Bosh. The Pistons did, and he accepts that. He knows that he'll always be in those conversations, but he's pretty happy. He just figures he was young and it wasn't the right situation for him, and he, for his part, probably didn't take it as serious as he should, which is a shame. But he seems super normal. Like it was a really cool documentary.
Yeah, my thing with him was always. I mean, obviously, it's tough. When a guy doesn't pan out and is drafted so high, but I was actually always really worried for him, that he didn't go the other way with it. Like, he was obviously depressed for years.
Yeah.
And I was just, like, super glad that he came out the other end of it.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
Vince doesn't care, but...
He's got his championship and Carmelo Anthony, so I don't feel too bad for him.
So what nationality was Darko?
Was he Yugoslav?
Yeah, I want to say Yugoslav.
Okay. For some reason, I thought he was Greek. I don't know why. But he actually sold his championship ring.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, really?
a few years ago. I think don't quote me, I think he gave the money to charity or something. So yeah, he just said it meant nothing to him. Didn't contribute to it. So why keep it?
He didn't earn it. Didn't enjoy his time in Detroit.
It's decent years in Orlando.
He did, yeah. And I think he had one pretty decent year in Minnesota.
Yeah, he did.
He did.
Enough to get re-signed.
Yeah, no, it was really interesting. I might put a link up on the Courtside Facebook page for everyone to have a look at it. I just thought it was really interesting, and he's like a real down to earth. Like it was real. I don't know. It was kind of a bit heartwarming that there's life after. You hear these Sam Buoys and Oliver Candys and these guys who are drafted high and failed miserably in terms of their expectation. But I mean, they're people, and that stigma, I guess, doesn't deserve to sort of hang around with them for the rest of their lives. And there is life after the NBA, and particularly for these international prospects. I mean, there's a lot of them that get drafted on the X factor and the unknown, and they just, they don't pan out. And I just thought it was really, really insightful, and he's doing good things post basketball, which is great to see.
Yeah.
Here it comes. Watch out! Here it comes. Watch out!
Ball